All right, welcome everybody to today's next training on the 10 steps to success. My name is Jeremy Jenkins. It's a pleasure as always to be able to share with you tidbits of wisdom that I've picked up over the years and be able to share with you how I've been able to have some of the successes that I have in my career. So today we are talking about the last step number 10, the golden rules. So this step is really the culmination, right? It's the culmination of everything we've talked about all through this series, through the previous 9 steps. So I just want to kind of review so that you can see how they all tie into this, right? So if we remember, step number 1 is all about motivation. It's all about defining your why. It's finding that reason why you're going to do something different, right? Because we know that the 95% of the people are just out there doing what society has taught them, right? Go to school, get a degree, get a job, work your way up the corporate ladder, figure out how to, find success in your career and everything. And that's great. And there's nothing wrong with that, with wanting to be a doctor, wanting to be an engineer, wanting to be, a pilot, whatever it is that you enjoy, right? And get paid for it. Hey, that's great. That's awesome. However, it's not going to allow you to achieve financial freedom, right? It's not going to allow you to achieve the why that you've defined, right? And so that's what we're talking about. We're saying, hey, you know what? I realize there's got to be something else. There's got to be another vehicle that's going to provide for me a way to achieve my goal outside of the traditional, right? And that's why I love Jim Rohn and his whole training on the magic of part-time, right? And we'll go into that on another day. That will be another day's training. But that's what he talks about, right? Is this idea of you can do this on the side, right? You can start down that path. You can start to create something that will bring you residual income. And so you can do your career, you can do your job, you can do whatever it is you like doing that you're passionate about, and then just take some time on the side to start building this amazing opportunity, this amazing pipeline, right? That's another training that we do, is the parable of the pipeline. This this vehicle that's going to provide you something so that when you're done with whatever it is you're doing, right? Maybe you want to retire early, right? Maybe you want to be able to say, okay, you know what? I did my part. I did 20 years of being a nurse. I did 30 years of being a systems engineer, whatever, right? Now I'm going to go play. Now I'm going to go have some freedom and be able to do that, right? That's what we're talking about. So we define our why and we say, yes, this is what I am trying to achieve. This is my goal, whether it's, hey, I want to help my aging parents in their retirement so they don't have to suffer, or maybe it's, because I want to go change the world, or whatever it is, right? You have that goal, that vision, that dream defined, okay? Because that's what's going to motivate you to do the rest of the 10 steps, right? So that's why defining your why is number 1. And of course, number 2 being all about creating your list and figuring out how to find people, because this is a networking business, right? The secret to success we talk about all the time is this idea of leverage. You got to have leverage in your life. And the only way to have leverage is to either have people or money, right? And so if you're blessed enough to already have a whole bunch of money that you can go and use to, do things in trades and whatnot, hey, great, right? Put your money to work for you. Awesome. Okay. However, the most successful people at becoming financially free are the ones that figure out how to leverage systems and people, right? Because we all know that we'd rather make 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of our own, right? That's the idea. That's how people get wealthy, right? And since the majority of people don't already have a bunch of money that can use for trading or whatever, guess what? Yeah, the secret is to start out building a team, right? Invite others And you might have to go through a whole bunch, right? To get your 3 or to get your 10 or however many you need, right? It might take talking to 100 or 500 people, right? To show the plan, like Bill Britt said, show the plan to 900 people. And of those, only, half of them actually do anything. And of those, only half of them actually kind of take it serious. And then of those, in the end, like only 11 of them actually, make you a millionaire, right? But that's how you do it. Okay. So step number two, creating your list, talking to people, finding out a way to use, whether it's social media, you'd be on Facebook or whatever, creating your lighthouse we talked about, right? So that you can do either paid advertising or using social media to get the word out, or maybe YouTube, right? Maybe Twitter, whatever you like to use, Instagram, right? You create a following, you become an influencer so that you can have a constant flow of new people to talk to show it to, right? That's step number two, very critical. That's the gas that goes in the gas tank of your vehicle, right? And we have an amazing vehicle, oh yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles and the leather seats and whatever, but if you don't put gas in the tank, it's not going to get you anywhere, right? So that's step number two, how to get people to fuel your business, okay? Number three, we talk about setting goals, because if you're not setting goals, if you don't have a plan, right, you're not going to get anything done. You got to know what the goal is, what the idea, what are we doing daily, weekly, monthly, right? If it's just kind of wake up every day and spitball it, right? Like, oh, today I think I'll maybe talk to, one person, and then tomorrow, hey, I think tomorrow I'll talk to 20 people. Or, you got to have a plan. You got to know what you're doing so you can kind of hold yourself accountable and figure it out, right? So step number three, setting goals and figuring out how to do that. Step number four, being committed, right? Deciding, planting your flag. This is me. This is what I'm doing. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm putting on the T-shirt. I'm wearing the hat. This is me, right? And the people around you are like, oh, there's that crazy networking guy again, right? Okay, yeah, you just do it, right? Because in the end, people will get curious and they'll be like, wait, what? And they'll want to know more, just because they see that you're committed, right? They see that you're doing it, and that inspires confidence, okay? If you're wishy-washy, no. Potential prospects are going to be like, I don't know, do I want to join this person? No, you got to be 100% committed and show it. And then people will be attracted to you and want to find out more about what you're doing. Okay. Number five, personal development. We got to follow Jim Rohn's advice of, if you want to make $1 million, you got to be $1 million person, right? That's how you do it. Because if you're not $1 million person, if you just got lucky, then that money will go away, right? And it's proven that people that just have inheritances or win the lottery or whatever, most of them, I don't know the exact percentage, but most of them end up being broke within 5 years, right? Yeah. But other people that, are $1 million people, they might lose $1 million, but you know what? They can go make it back again, right? And so you see that all the time too. So the idea is to be that $1 million person. Okay. Step number 6, of course, being connected, staying connected, being on all the Zooms that you possibly can, being part of the team, going to the meetings, going to the events, plugging in, right? Staying connected, knowing what's going on, like at least minimally weekly, right? Now, I know daily kind of hard sometimes, right? We got lives to live and stuff, and that's fine, but at least weekly, right? And it's just the saddest thing ever when, I have people and it's crazy, that I get them in and they're excited and I think, yeah, they're going to go for it. And they do, and they go for it for a few weeks. They're doing it. And then, they sign up a few people, and then next thing I know, they're gone, right? Like I don't hear from them again for weeks or even months. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, because the company's putting on a big event or something, right? And I'm getting the word out. And all of a sudden, they're like, "Hey, that sounds really good. Hey, yeah, catch me up on stuff, right? Tell me what's going on. I'm ready to get back in the game." But it's frustrating because those people I brought in the beginning, they quit, right? They turned off their their auto pay, right? They went inactive on me. What's going on? Well, yeah, because their leader left, right? They didn't know what to do. And so, yeah, you can't do that. You can't go, on vacation for weeks at a time or a month and expect to come back and have everything still going, right? No, you got to be consistent. You guys plug in, you got to do it. Of course, step number 7, all about learning how to invite people, right? Knowing what to say. And that all comes from being plugged in, right? And you can see how these all flow into each other, right? Because, if you aren't plugged in, you're not going to know what to say. So, it's important. So learning how to have that and then the posturing, right? We talked about having posture in your invitation. And so if you're not doing the previous steps, if you're not doing personal development, if you're not committed, if you're not doing your goals and all that, well, you're not going to have the posture. You're not going to have the confidence to, when you talk to somebody and invite them, to say, no, I have the cookie. I know what's going on. I've got this, right? And this is the answer, and this is the vehicle, and this is what we're doing, and this is the answer to all your problems. If you're being wishy-washy, or you're, only showing up once a month to the meetings, and you're only kind of halfway doing it, well, guess what? People notice that, right? When you do an invitation, people will ask you, and you'll have to be like, oh, well, I don't know, or, oh, you know what? Let me find out this, or, oh, yeah, I haven't plugged in for a while, right? And no, people notice that. And so what does it do? It makes it so when you do invite people, they're like, why would I join you, right? So yeah, you got to stay plugged in. You got to do it. And you got to learn how to invite so you can have that posture, okay? Number 8, all about knowing the biz, right? How does the comp plan work? How do you get paid? How does the product work? Become a product of the product, right? Who are the leaders? What's going on? Where do I plug in at, right? So you got to know all that stuff so you can tell them. Now, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be, a comp plan expert, know every itty bitty detail. No, that's not what we're talking about. But we are talking about knowing enough to say, hey, this is what it is. This is what it's about. This is what we're representing. This is how it benefits you. This is how it gets you ahead in the game, and all those things, right? And of course, like last time we talked about then being a leader. So step number 9 was being a leader, and being a leader means simply duplicating, right? You're going to now take those 3 or 5 or 10 people that you invited, and that you signed up actually, and you're going to have them now duplicate, right? So leaders, right? We talked about those steps of leadership, and you're going to be a step 4 leader, which means that people follow you because you're now helping them do what you did, right? Now they're having success, okay? So that's the goal. Become a step number or level 4 leader so that people are like, wow, yep, okay, I'm following this guy or this gal to the ends of the earth, because I know if I do, I'm going to have success. So today, step number 10, the golden rules. We're going to take all those previous 9 steps and we're going to combine them into basically this: doing it correctly, consistently, and for enough time, right? Long enough, okay? And that will guarantee success. That is the idea. Guaranteeing success. It's not a question of, oh, well, some people, right, might be able to do this, right? It's not a question of like in traditional jobs where, there could be some kind of discrimination, right? We all hear about, the glass ceiling or and it's really, popular right now to talk about, the whether it's racism or whatever, right? It's like, okay, if I go get a job, the boss can decide. The boss can say, oh, well, I don't like him or her because of this or that, and maybe I'll pay him a little bit less, or there's just all of that kind of vagueness, right, of what could really be going on, and different salaries for different people and different deals being made, and who knows what, right? And it could just be a timing thing. But in the end, there's differences, right, in what goes on in a normal corporate workplace. In this, what we're doing in networking, it is the most fair thing. It's just the most, simple, black or white, right? It's like, if it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter if you're, Hispanic or Asian, it doesn't matter what background you have, nothing matters. Doesn't matter your education, doesn't matter how much money you have. If you do it, you will be successful, period. And it doesn't judge, right? Like the comp plan, the system, it doesn't care what country you're from, or who your parents were, or whatever, right? All that matters is what you do, what you do. And if you're doing it correctly, and you're doing it consistently over enough time, you will be successful, period. No matter what, no matter who you are, no matter what language you speak, okay, you will have success. Why? Because the products are universal, the comp plan is universal, it works for everyone. So if you're not having success, it's because you're not following the steps. You're not doing it correctly, you're not doing it consistently, or you haven't done it long enough yet. That simple, period. Okay. So correctly, what do I mean? Well, Jim Rohn, again, famous Jim Rohn, success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals, right? So doing it correctly basically means following those previous 9 steps, each and every one, watching the videos related to the company, reading the recommended books, all of that, okay? When people complain about bad results they got, it's because they didn't do the 10 steps, period. It's that simple. They either didn't have a good enough why, so they kind of dropped out. They didn't set some goals. They didn't, commit. They didn't do the personal development. They didn't, connect in. They didn't plug in. They didn't learn how to invite people. One of them, right? You can always trace it back to at least one of them, right? If you're not doing them all, that's why you're having bad results. When you figure out how to do all 10, it's like turning a key. Boom. Oh, hey, all of a sudden I'm making money. All of a sudden I'm having success. It's that simple. Okay. So Dwayne Johnson said, I've learned over the years that when it comes to success, consistency is key. Consistent hard work that we may not like doing today, but for a payoff we'll love tomorrow. Earn it and enjoy it, right? So it's the consistency. It's when we continue to do the 10 steps at a constant rate, okay? So if we're only dedicating a few hours a week to it, then it should be every week. Like seriously, like no dropping out. Unless, obviously, okay, if I've got to go to Hawaii for a week, right, for my family, okay, fine. You can have 1 week off. But no, seriously, it's like every week, okay? You got to be consistent. It's very common to start the business and then disappear for 2 or 3 weeks and try and return again. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Okay. Just over and over. Consistency is so important. Okay. And then long enough, right? It takes time for a seed to grow and become a tree. We know that, right? And it takes time for geometric progression to happen. Okay. So, and it's that simple. People get in and they're like, oh, I'm going to plant that seed, right? And you water it for a little bit and everything, and and then all of a sudden little leaves coming up out of the ground, right? Oh, okay, it's growing, it's working, cool. And then they abandon it. Right? Like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that it came up and okay, sprouting, right? Little leaves coming up. So okay, I'm good. No, right? You got to keep watering it. You got to keep, maybe fertilizing. You got to make sure, you're weeding around it, right? Making sure that no animals or bugs are coming and eating it, whatever, right? You got to let that tree grow into something that can be self-sustaining. That is the goal. You got to give it enough time, right? Got to do it correctly, consistently for long enough so that it can turn into something solid, so that the roots can get down in there, right? And it can, grow and start giving you the fruit that you've been waiting for, okay? And then at that point, right, that's when we talk about beach money. That's when we talk about, true walk away income, right? Where you now have this massive tree that's so awesome and it's giving fruit all the time. And you just have to do minimal maintenance, right? You just have to, obviously keep the water coming, right? Maybe, or, make sure there's, the bugs aren't attacking it and, maybe you got to spray it or whatever. But that's it. Once it's there, once it's growing, once it's giving fruit, yeah, it's simple to maintain, right? It's simple to keep it going. And that's when you say, okay, now I can go and do a meeting with my team here, or I can travel over there, or I can just plug into a Zoom call, a couple times a week. And then the rest of the time you're free, right? The rest of the time you can go and enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? That's the idea. But unfortunately, what happens is people look at, this geometric progression and they realize, oh, okay, I'm doing all this work. I'm doing all these calls. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm plugging in everything, and I only got 1 cent. And then, finally they have a little bit of success. They get somebody signed up, right? Oh, that duplicate. Oh, now I'm making 2 cents, right? And, maybe it duplicates into 8 cents, and maybe it duplicates into 64 cents. And, and a few weeks go by, and it's like, I'm doing all this work, and I only made like, $50. This is crazy. I can't survive on $50 a month. That's not worth it, right? And so they quit. They give up. They say, no, 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 no. I'm going to go try something else, right? And see if I can't make the magic work. And then they always fall back on, I'm just going to go do my job, right? They never give it enough time to let it duplicate. They never stick with it long enough to turn that 1 penny into, how in 30 days, doubled? How much is that? Yeah, that's over $5 million. $5 million in 30 days of duplication. Okay. So, and everybody's different. So for some people, it might take 6 months. It might take a year, right? Who knows, right? You don't know how long it's going to take, right? There's lots of different circumstances. It all depends on, maybe some of your skill set and stuff. But in the end, you got to give it the time. You got to give it the chance, right? To all of a sudden start doing that duplication thing, that geometric progression thing, right? You got to stick with it long enough so it can turn into an actual tree that starts to give fruit. And then you can finally say, I'm free. But unfortunately, most people just don't last, right? They'll give it 90 days. And if they're not making millions, they're out, right? You can't be that person. You got to understand that this could be a 1 to 5 year project. It could be, right? Now we hope that with all the training and everything we're doing, that we can reduce that time down, right? And if you actually do go in and plug in and do the 10 steps, wow, yeah, you could start making a 6-figure income in your first year. It's possible, right? Definitely possible. And in fact, what we're doing, network marketing and the comp plan we have, that is the only place on the entire planet that I'm aware of that you could actually literally go and make a 6-figure income in your first year, right? Where else are you going to do that? I mean, 6-figure income anywhere else, like how much work, how much school time, how many years you got to go to get your, bachelor's degree and your master's degree and your doctorate and whatever. You're going to be a doctor, you go to law school, or what, I mean, just years and years and years of study. And then you just barely get started. And maybe you can start, having success and building out a clientele and all that. And it's going to take you several more years, right, to build that out to where you could be making a 6-figure income. Whereas here, you could literally do it in your first 6 months to a year if you just do it right. If you are doing it correctly, consistently, and long enough, right? It literally is the only place I know of where you could do it that fast. So, and doing something that you really love part-time, right? The magic of part-time, Jim Rohn, right? Love it. So, true success, okay? Thomas Carlyle said, permanence, perseverance, and persistence in spite of all obstacles, discouragements, and impossibilities. It is this that in all things distinguishes the strong soul from the weak. True success is coming from consistent efforts made over time. Each of us will have a different definition of success. The foundation of all true success comes from the constant effort that is applied every day toward that worthy goal, right? Making mistakes along the way is part of that path, okay? But doing your best every day and staying on track, that will lead you to the goal. So when you're giving your best effort, you are successful. Okay. It's not the big things, but it's those constant little efforts every day that represent true success. So persistence, right? How do you develop it? Okay, Napoleon Hill, right? Hope everybody's read Think and Grow Rich. One of the absolute must reads if you're going to be doing network marketing. You got to read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Okay, so let's define this. 4 things. Define that purpose, right? Backed by that burning desire for fulfillment. Hey, guess what? That's step number 1 of the 10 steps, right? Okay, a definite plan expressed in continuous action. Guess what? Yeah, that's steps number 2 and 3 and 4, right? Oh, look at that. Okay, number 3 is a mind closed tightly against negative and discouraging influences. Okay, so we got step number 5, personal development. Step number 6, plugging in all that. Okay, yeah, look at that. Look at that. This is all the 10 steps summed right here by Napoleon Hill in this Think and Grow Rich. And then a friendly alliance. Okay, yep, learning to invite, right? Knowing the biz, being a leader. Wow, look at that. The first 9 steps summed up by Napoleon Hill. Pretty good. Okay, now we want to keep it. Okay, if you are persistent, you will get it. If you are consistent, you will keep it, because nothing's sadder than having it grow and having it go and be successful and everything, and then having it disappear on you because you didn't stick with it, right? So got to be persistent and consistent. Pressing on. Calvin Coolidge said this, and this is so awesome. Nothing in the world can take place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. How powerful is that? Love that nugget right there. Omnipotent persistence, pressing on. So, in conclusion, Dale Carnegie said, most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. My friends, let's do this. We have the 10 steps. We know what we got to do. Now it's just a matter of doing them. Keep on going on, even when things get hard, even when we don't feel like it, right? Even when that motivation has left us, we keep doing it. We do it anyway. We turn it into a habit. We are consistent every week. We are there. Sometimes we're doing a little bit more than others. Sometimes, the company provides something to get excited about and we can promote and all that. But in the end, it's just sticking with it, not letting a single day go by that you don't do something in your business, and not a single week go by that you're not plugging in, participating, and sharing what you're all about. If you do it, guarantee 100% mathematical formula, no matter who you are, where you're at in the world, what you're doing, if you will follow these 10 steps, you will have success. And that is my desire for all of you. Go get it done. So thank you for joining me today. Hopefully that was helpful. And we will see you